Okay, so today's piece is Pairs by Christian Wolff. This is a piece from 1968, and it could be for two players or four or six or eight, etc., I think. Um, and this is edition CF Peters. Um, so if you actually go to the last page where I just was, um, you have a list of Christian Wolff's works, which are offered by Edition Peters. We're not going to get into that, but yeah, the score for this one is pretty iconic looking. It's like divided into these little sections, numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. And then each page it starts over. So I think there's 5 things on each page. And then there's these instructions, which I've never really taken the time to listen to read before, so why don't we just get into it and see if we can make heads or tails of this. So again, yeah, it's any instrument or voice or whatever. Uh, so yeah, there it can be for anything, but many pitches in the score are specified. And there's also like some small slides and sustain sounds that are asked of you. Um, and everything has to be read in either bass or treble clef. Yeah, there's no clefs actually in the score, so you have to imagine the bass clef or treble clef. Yeah, if a pitch is not available to you, you can transpose it by a number of octaves. There's different symbols, so this one, the arrow pointing up, is a high. This one pointing down is a low. So I guess like a high point in a line or a phrase, a low point in a line or phrase. Diagonal arrow from a note head is a slide or glissando. If it is like you have this line without an arrow, that directs you to angle up or down the pitch of your note by less than a half step. So sort of like a microtonal accidental. Um, if there's a slash through the note head, it says play with some sort of alternation of normal timbre um, and I guess non-normal timbre. So like a timbral trill or something like that. And then if there's a cross through it, through the note head, alter the timbre to the point of making the pitch unrecognizable. So square notes are variably long, block notes are variably short, white note heads are free in duration, 16th notes rapid, 8th notes about half as fast as those rapid notes. Okay, let's have a look at what is on the page here. So yeah, these square note heads are for long duration. You can see the top voice or instrument has a little slide up and down, right? At least a semitone. And then there's a high point at the end for that first line, right? Okay, so yeah, we're deciphering some of it here. T is equal to a different timbre than the one preceding. 2T would mean play two different timbres, so let's see if we can find that in the score. There's 3T, for example, in the third thing. So, and that is like a low point or a low note of indeterminate duration. You need three different timbres there. In section 2, so section 1 seems to be pretty straightforward, like one player reads the top line, the other player reads the other one. Section 2, where there are ledger lines not associated with staves, one player of a pair plays any pitch, and the other must aim at an interval from that pitch indicated by the lines. So if we look at 2 on the first page, right, we have this non-staff thing. That's just like an interval that could be anywhere. But I guess one of the players, like the bottom player probably, is determining what the lower pitch is of that interval, and the other player has to figure out. Yeah. Okay. In section 4, the numbers over the notes are a number of pitches to be played within less than half tone. For example, you have to play 3 different pitches in this very, very fast 16th note, right? Or the lower player has to in 4 there. Section 5, the pitches given in parentheses may be applied to the notes near them. They are not themselves notes to be played. Yeah, so you have pitches in parentheses here in number 5. Okay, so if only 1 or 2 pairs play, they can use more than 1 page each. But I guess if you have 8 players, then each pair is only playing off of 1 page. Coordination of particular notes is only indicated within pairs. Okay, so like the reason why it's like several pages is because you can have multiple pairs of people playing it, right? So that makes sense. It's kind of modular. You could have all 4 pages happening at the same time, but maybe broken up into 5 movements. And it looks like only the 5th, yeah, the 5th movement is only present on the first page. Every other page, it's not there. So regardless of how many people are playing, there's going to be 1 pair of people playing the last bit of the piece. In any section, any note or grouping of notes can be repeated once at any point in a performance, so it's very open in that respect. And then the player can decide whether to articulate the different sections, to what extent, and how. Okay, that answers my question. So yeah, you could put pauses between these sections as if they were different movements, or you could just not articulate a distinction between them. Maybe you just play them in order, or maybe you don't. It really seems like they are supposed to be played in order. Yeah, I'm not finding a lot immediately, at least in English. So there's a variety of recordings on YouTube. There's like a 5-minute one titled version 1. There's a 3-minute recording titled version 2. There's a 7-minute recording here. So yeah, why don't we just listen to version 1, whatever that means. And I'm tempted not to really follow along with the score because it's so open. But yeah, this is sort of what the performers are working with, right? So I think it takes a little bit of rehearsal and decoding, and who knows how freely it comes off in performance, or how much of it is kind of like scripted by the time you figure it out. Okay, so link to this in the video description. I'll see you all in 5 minutes. Okay, so my thoughts on this performance and the piece overall. Yeah, I felt like the way that the score looks and is presented and sort of is spatialized, the sort of cutaway score thing, and all the different symbols, I think it really informs how people go about improvising, oddly enough. And I don't doubt that these performers were really reading what's on the page, but I think there's also a lot of stuff that they just added, and which like kind of disrupted whatever you could follow, you know. I think also this is a weird recording because there's 3 performers. So one performer is playing piano and celesta and functionally doing the work of 2 performers, which also doesn't really follow what the score tells you to do. I think it's kind of interesting that there's these moments where performers have to coordinate. They actually have to play at the same time. And I also like the notation, the timbral notation, where it's like you need to play 3 different timbres here. I think that really also like informed the improvisation, and these performers came up with some really interesting sounds because of that small little notation.